Welcome to the Sales Slap podcast, where we hit you with the hard truth, bold strategies, and expert insights you need to master the art of selling. And who's leading the charge? Meet your hosts, Rick Denley, Simon Hares, and 𝗦𝗔𝗟𝗘𝗦. Get ready for real talk, expert advice, and game-changing strategies. Because in sales, you don't just play, you slap. Let's dive in.
And welcome everyone to the Sales Slap podcast, our very inaugural podcast. I'm Rick Denley along here with Scott. Say hi.
Hi, good morning.
There he is, and Simon as well. Simon, welcome.
Hey.
And we're here to help with the skills, tools, and knowledge necessary to keep us successful in this crazy world of sales. Simon, great to have you with us here today as well. Kick things off for us, buddy.
Thanks so much. It's very, very exciting. The three of us together. Finally, it's taken years to make this happen. And the three of us are here together across the oceans, have brought us all together finally, and here we are. I'm in one time zone, the boys are in another one, but we're coming to you on Valentine's Day. So it's all about the love for sales. In today's program, we are going to be talking extensively about sales and AI. We've got a lot to cover there, but we've got a couple of other little tidbits to cover off as well. And Scott will be doing a piece, Rick will be doing a piece, I'll be talking and rambling on about something. What are you going to be talking about, Scott?
I'm going to be talking about, so this is going to be AI and sales and people, and I'm newer to the AI world. I'm hoping to learn something from you guys, but I'm very much about human-centered sales and sales leadership. So I'm excited to be here and learn from you guys as well.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
brilliant. Yeah, thanks everyone for being on board here. You know, here's the interesting thing is that we are going to be having a live podcast going forward. This first one's recorded. We're going to have guests on it as well, experts in the different areas that we're going to talk on. We're going to allow people to jump in and out and ask questions as well. The next ones are going to be very interactive going forward. But as we mentioned, for today's topic, it's going to be on AI, this artificial intelligence. Listen, AI is transforming the sales landscape and the way that all salespeople work. Let me share some interesting stats with you to kick things off here, because Simon knows how much I love statistics.
Buckle up.
There we go. So 70% of salespeople believe AI tools boost their work productivity. Sales teams using AI are 1.3 times more likely to see revenue increases. AI has potential to increase your leads by 50%. Who doesn't want more leads? Yes, please. Thank you. And 81% of sales teams are either experimenting with or have fully implemented AI. Yeah, I call BS. 81% of teams have not implemented AI. Simon, what do you think about that?
Not a chance. I think there's a lot of people out there that are thinking about it. I think there's a lot of people out there that are quite intimidated by AI. I think there are people that are very threatened by it. And I think there's even more people who still don't really get it. You know, LinkedIn is very, very good at talking about AI and making it feel like a very fluent thing in our lives already. But I want us to take a moment to think about all the people that maybe don't use LinkedIn. How fluent are they in AI? You know, because we're having it rammed down our throats the whole time. You know, and Scott's really keen on the whole people-centered approach. So what does it really replace? What is it going to do? And I'm kind of coming at it from a slightly cynical point of view. Maybe it's because I come from the Terminator generation and I'm worried about Skynet. Who knows? But we know today that, you know, in Paris, there's a lot of talk today about AI and about the power of AI and what's going on with it. But I think we really need to get to the crux of what it is and what it's really going to do, rather than thinking about it being this solve-all, so that numbers like 81% of people have adopted it. No, they haven't. I think the numbers are closer that 81% have probably downloaded ChatGPT on their phone and typed in something rude on it. I think that's probably closer to the truth. What do you think, Scott?
So it's a great topic, and what I'm drawn to is I'm thinking about, you know, when LinkedIn and social selling became more mainstream, there were the experts that talked about how this was going to replace salespeople. And what's happened? It's become another tool that sales professionals use to help them get their message out. And my experience and some of the statistics that I pulled out is very much the same. Is that organizations that are looking to adopt AI are and should be looking at it as a way to enhance what they're doing, right? So kind of taking some of those mundane and repetitive tasks and using them, because at the end of the day, ideally what AI can allow us to do is spend more time in those meaningful discussions, building relationships, and spending less time maybe doing some of the more repetitive, heavy lifting tasks, right? Freeing us up to spend more time with our customers and our clients.
Yeah, I
Rick,
think
what do
so.
you think?
That's a great point. You're right. And before we dive into it as well, and I always like to see the leadership slant on this. People are fearful of this right now, and they're fearful that they're falling behind in utilizing it as well, artificial intelligence. The interesting part is that this is change. And one of the things that I want to get to the leaders that are out there and the sales leaders is that it's our role to make people feel comfortable with the change that's coming, whatever the change might be. Right now it's AI. Next week it'd be something different perhaps. We have to be sure that our people feel that they are supported in change, that they can try new things so that they can move on or even stay up to date with these tools that are coming out. Right? We're always looking to gain the skills, tools, and knowledge necessary. And this has changed. So the one thing right away is that people are fearful of it. Remove that fear for our individual salespeople and our teams and let them dabble in it and let them get playing with it as well so that they can start learning about it. So I just want to make the point that as sales leaders out there, remember, it's our job to support our people, give them the confidence they need to dive into things like this and change and stay up to date.
Totally agree. And I think there's some other areas as well that we mustn't forget, that we don't know yet if AI is going to replace anything. I was recently running a training course where one of the delegates, we were talking about discovery and the importance of discovery. And she said that isn't it going to be great when AI eventually does all this for us and all of this training will be redundant? And my face tends to kind of tell a story anyway. I can't hide my emotions, and not to mention the expletives. So it was kind of a hang on a minute. It wasn't a drop the mic moment. It was a drop an F-bomb moment. And I said, I really hope not. I do not want us to think for 1 minute that AI is going to replace all of those things, because we've got to be able to get under the nuances into the personalities of the people that we are selling to. AI doesn't replace, it can enhance, and it can make things more improved. And if it does replace something, well, we're not there yet. As there are all, there's so many different fads. You mentioned about social selling, for example, as one of them. There are lots of different things that come in for the world of sales, and AI is the latest hobby horse. So therefore, we've still got to remember that when we are selling, those things that we have always used will still always work for us. And we have to ask ourselves, what are you looking for? What are you really, really looking for with this? Because are you just looking for an easy way to sell? Are you hoping that AI is going to not only bring in leads, but it's actually going to convert for you as well? Because if that's the case, then what's the point of you? What is the point? You may as well be completely self-service, going into that kind of like the advertising programmatic world, all of those things. So we need to be careful about what we're reaching for.
So Simon's gotten revved up. Simon's got the gloves off now over that particular incident with somebody, and he's ready to go. And Scott, you mentioned to us, some of the things that it could possibly replace. What's one that you see? What's one area that you think AI in sales could be effective for people to start utilizing right now?
So Simon mentioned, the discovery piece, and I would suggest that what I'm learning about AI is that AI may help you come up with some really good questions. AI may help you find, where some of your best prospects may reside. AI may help you create some content that you can then go and humanize. And I think the thing that I want to maybe layer on to what Simon was saying is that, I'm a big believer that, the discovery process is one of the most critical pieces of the sales process. And if you don't dig into it, your deals are going to get stuck, or they're going to go sideways. And I think to the point that you made, Simon, I think what's interesting is that there's a lot of science on neuroscience that says that when you're asking somebody really relevant, really thoughtful, genuine questions, there's things happening in the brain that build trust. So there's a guy who I've taken some of his courses on LinkedIn Learning named Jeff Bloomfield, and his thing is like the neuroscience of trust, and that always stuck with me, right? And thinking about, and I want to sort of zero in on what Simon said there, where if we skip over that process and we go right to presentation mode, then we're asking our potential customers who don't know us yet, don't trust us yet, to filter all the information that we're giving them through this. Can I trust Scott? Is he really out for my best interest? But if you lean into that early part of the process and ask those questions that were maybe informed by AI, you're now forming that genuine human connection and that trust. And now when I do go to give my presentation or my demo, the person is receiving that information from the point of, I think I can trust this person. They seem to know what they're doing. They seem credible, and they seem to genuinely care about my business. So I think AI can help with that. I've actually just started to use it recently. Just one quick example. I'm working with a gentleman here in Winnipeg, where we're trying to figure out what are the big challenges that organizations are facing from a marketing and sales alignment perspective. And he went into Copilot and asked it a few different questions and came up with what it summarized as the biggest concerns facing leaders today around the alignment of marketing and sales. And some of those questions we had thought of, and some of them we hadn't. So I was like, well, this is great, right?
So it's augmenting, which is good. Let me add to this for a minute, because in my research and what I've seen being utilized right now, AI can analyze vast amounts of data. Okay, and this is helpful to identify and prioritize high quality leads. So I'm going to take us right back to the prospecting, because we know that AI can have a positive impact on all the different sales stages within the sales cycle.
Yeah.
Right. So we can take it right back there. And that is going to save salespeople time on the analyzing and prioritizing high quality leads. Okay. You talked about the data entry. Look, we're all using CRMs right now. AI tools can help automate data entry tasks and maintain the CRM system for us. And by the way, HubSpot's doing this really good right now. Shout out to them. So that's really helpful.
A couple of them are already doing it, aren't they?
Yeah, you've seen the AI tools built into it. And I know other CRMs as well that are doing that, Salesforce recently. But personalized outreach, Scott, you mentioned too. AI can generate personalized email templates and outreach messages at scale. So if you're targeting a particular industry, you can have an AI tool create that outreach, which is specific to them, not generic. And we know that has a lot more impact. Another area here, the customer insights. Right? AI can provide deep insights into customer preferences and behavior, enabling sales teams and salespeople to tailor that approach. And that's what you were just mentioning with those questions, wasn't it? So there's all these different aspects depending on which part of the sales stage and the sales process that you're in right now, where AI can assist you. So in the tools area of your sales cycle, start looking at which ones they can be utilizing. Simon, what are we using out there? What AI sales tools can we use?
Well, the main tools I think at the moment that people are using are the ones that are built into their CRMs. You mentioned HubSpot as well. I know a lot of people are using ChatGPT as well. They're using that quite a lot to generate information. There's something that I think we should be really importantly focusing on as well, is that we hear people talking about how we can use it, what it will change, what it will enhance. I think it's really important for us to take 1 minute to think about the impact of using it on our customers and prospects. What will they be thinking about when they receive something that has been generated by AI? Are they going to be thinking...
Can they tell?
Yeah.
Can they tell? Okay. That's a question, isn't it? Can they tell?
I'm just curious.
Oftentimes. Well, listen, guys, we've all gotten... I was reading a post this morning from a gent that I recently connected with, who his post was about how he'll make a LinkedIn post, and then very quickly there's almost like a canned response. It's very formulaic, and you're like, this person is using AI to generate comments and engagement on LinkedIn, and it's, to me, I don't know about you guys, but to me, it's really obvious, and it's
Okay.
sucking the human aspect out of the whole relationship part of it, and it makes people mad.
So sales is all about trust. Are we now becoming a little bit less disingenuous here? Are we, more disingenuous and less ethical by using it? That's a question too. If you can tell that I was using it, is that against me, or is it credos because I'm using tools that are available to me?
I think if you're the type of person that buys products for your company from B2B salespeople, then ultimately you might want more of a personal connection. If it's somebody who's selling something which has low value, but the relationship is very important, for example, paper salespeople who are selling stationery it's low value, it's photocopier paper, it's on a constant contract, but the relationship is really, really important, then I think AI might upset. But I think when you think about recruitment could use AI very, very well to help sort candidates, to prioritize in the same way as we would do with prospects. But I think there's another element that comes in as well, which is the generations that we sell to. I mean, if you look at the age of the three of us together, we might be of a generation where we would prefer to deal with someone in person. But we hear of people saying that Generation Z doesn't answer their phone. They don't want to talk to anyone. They want to do everything electronically. So then in that case, AI is going to do it and do it really, really, really well.
Good point.
And of course, if everyone's using AI and it's telling them that it's going to stand out, then is it really going to stand out, or is it going to stand the same as all the others? So
now
I
it's
think
become the standard.
There's things we need to think about, isn't there? Who are actually using ChatGPT or AI to target in terms of demographic, in terms of what the customer feels like, what do they like, how do they like to be sold to? And then, of course, there's the quality of the information and the tools that we're using. So there are so many layers that we're building in. And when you bring the leadership aspect in as well, how is that managed?
Let me give you an example. Thank you. With the leadership part, I want to jump in here because I'm working with a leader in the sales area and their sales team right now. And they had this great example of, it did happen to be a younger generation that came along and utilized AI tools for setting up their particular sales call objectives and such. And they used it so that they were more informed. And they used whichever AI tool that they used to find out more information about the industry, the client, and the challenges that they might be facing so that they could put that forth and dovetail in how their product and service solves that potential problem. So now they're much more educated. As opposed to pushing the benefits of their product, they aligned it with the potential challenges that the AI tool came back and said, this particular industry right now is challenged in this area. Now you're problem solving as a salesperson intelligently upfront, not pushing product and features. How about that?
What's cool about that is that, and hopefully you guys will agree with me, a lot of salespeople either don't do that research and preparation, or they cheat the process, and AI can help get them that information so they can be more effective when they're in front of the customer. So for those people that are like, I actually like being in front of the customer, but I don't like all the prep that you need to do to get ready. Well, AI can help you do all that research and what is important to them, and what are the trends that are happening, and what are the things that this industry is having challenges with. I think that's fantastic.
And what does that do, Simon? What does that do for a salesperson in front of their client when they represent that way?
I think to show that you've actually done your homework is great. I think to show that you have prepared is great. Let's lean on something that many salespeople who will be watching this on LinkedIn might be familiar with. If we think about certain methodologies that are out there, we know that we've got different ones. I'm reading up on, rereading stuff on gap selling at the moment because I like to revisit an old friend. I posted it this week. But if we take, for example, the challenger sale, and most people have heard of the challenger sale, you've got those 5 types of sales approaches. You've got the relationship builder, you've got the hard worker, you've got the challenger, you've got the lone wolf. When you think about these profiles of how they sell, is there space for AI to help those particular profiles sell more effectively by understanding those traits. Now, we understand that if we put the challenger sale into AI, it does recognize certain things, but that's just one process. Will it recognize all of those other ones that we've got going on? And of course, when we think about the conversation with the salesperson in front of the client, is that salesperson going to naturally follow the process and naturally go, I know where I am now, I know what the next steps are, I know how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to have that conversation? Or are they going to be holding back, thinking, the next steps, I need to talk to ChatGPT and see how that's going to help me? Is it going to be that? Because what I want to see is a continuation that people are still able to hold a negotiation conversation. And a negotiation conversation is spontaneous. There are things that we do plan for, of course, all our flexibles, our variables, and our statics. We have to be able to plan for those. But how will AI help us with the to and fro and the leading on to negotiation? Can it help us with objection handling as well? And how is it going to help us to think on the fly without coming across as so over-prepared that we almost go into a negotiation with a set of cue cards, as we would with a presentation? You know, where is it?
Which is not what we want. We don't want to remove the human element here in the human touch, which right now AI can't replace right now. And so we still have that we need to look for. So that's really important. It's interesting, a couple of things you mentioned there. You know, when we talk about customer insights as well, we know that AI can really provide us those deep insights that we need into customer preferences, behavior, and even how they purchase down the road. The more data we put in, the better. So here's what I found working with one of the sales leaders and their team was that the better we get at using AI tools, we have to know how to use these correctly. Because again, garbage in, garbage out. So when I go into an AI tool, even ChatGPT, I have to know what I'm putting in to get out the results that I want. You know, Scott, I see you there with your hockey picture behind you. We're both big hockey guys, but whatever sport you play, there's always new equipment coming out. And, you know, for us, it's, well, the sticks went from wood to, you know, fiberglass over to carbon fiber.
Composite,
that doesn't mean to composite now. Thank you. See, I'm still behind. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I can pick up a stick and be Sidney Crosby, because I have to know how to use that stick. I have to know how to use that tool. So I encourage people, spend a half hour with any AI tool and learn how to use it properly. You can't just type something in and go, oh, I'm a guru now. You're not. Learn to use it properly. And I'm still not using that new $400 stick properly. I thought it would give me more goals.
You spent $400 on a stick?
Well, no, it came my way because one of my sons played high-level hockey, and they get a grocery of sticks. He goes, Dad, have this one. It's not working for me anymore. I said, sure, give it to the old guy. I mean, you know.
You make a good example, though, right? Because I love to take these examples and kind of apply it to sports. And so, you know, years ago, I upgraded all my equipment to a more modern style of goalie equipment. Invariably, there are aspects that made what I do better. Primarily, I don't get hurt, and you know, some things go a little bit more smoothly. But underlying, if I haven't spent the proper time practicing and training, and if I don't have those skills and that, you know, goalie muscle memory, in this case, sales muscle memory, all the AI tools in the world aren't going to help us. Right. No. So I think that there's a consistent example here that these things can make some things go smoothly and help you in certain areas. But fundamentally, I think go back to fundamentals. If you don't have those fundamental human sales skills and those fundamental sales process, AI isn't going to be a silver bullet. Yeah. If you have those things in place and then layer on AI on top of a sound sales process and sound fundamentals, then AI can help get you to that next level.
All right, let me bring in our sales expert trainer on this, Simon. What are you thinking? I mean, there's all these tools out there and so on. How does people utilize them?
I think Scott hit the nail on the head brilliantly by saying that you've got to get there. You go. Take your moment. You lost me when you were talking about your sticks. I mean, seriously. Seriously. Anyway, I'm losing my honorary Canadian status.
Yeah,
there.
you are.
Sorry. Edit that out. Edit that out.
There's stuff coming up. I don't see England in there, but that's okay. All right, Simon. There are all these new tools out there. How do you encourage people to use them and get on them?
So when, as I was going to say before I start again digressing about Scott and you and the stick, Scott hit the nail on the head. When you've got all of those foundation things in place, and I think about the time that I've spent on sessions with Scott, and we did a time management session together. Scott, this is so in your wheelhouse with what you do. We know that the majority of problems that many salespeople have can stem or find their source into time management. So how are they prioritizing the use of these new technologies? Are they just spending all day on ChatGPT and not actually talking to anyone? How are they going to be layering these in? Now, of course, understanding how these tools can actually help prioritize different clients you can talk to is going to be absolutely key. But when we think about some people might have to completely change the way they sell, because of course these things tend to accelerate. So if we lean on, say, you, Rick, you know, your book Reinvent Yourself talks about having grit. You talk about all of the key tools you need to, there it is. It's in that.
Thank you.
When we think about all of those things, some people might need to go through a process of reinvention and re-education into the way that they sell and the way that they approach things. So we need to make sure that people are fully equipped to take things on board. One of the big areas that I talk about a massive amount is video messaging. And anyone that's listened to me know that they'll probably drop off a cliff at the moment when they hear me talk about it. But I know that when I do talk about video messaging, still people look at me like I've grown another head. And the other day I sent a video message out to a law firm, and it was the chair of that law firm. And what was brilliant was she actually video messaged me back and said, I've just worked out how to video message you back. And, in that moment, the fact that she had taken the time to try and do it and did it was amazing. Because
and the best leaders lead by example. And I know you're going to see me keep pulling it back to leadership. And I will convince the two of you by the end of some podcast here that sales isn't the business, it's leadership. And you're leading people to decisions, and leadership by example is the best way, and that's what you're demonstrating right there, Simon. So that's fantastic. We talk about skills, tools, and knowledge. We've shared a bit of knowledge here, right? And the skill set is something that we have to consistently learn and be lifelong learners, especially in sales, because it's always changing. I want to take a minute, if I can, here to share some of the tools. All right, I want to mention these. Now, pop them up on the screen below for people here too. First off, Gong, an AI-driven platform that analyzes sales calls and provides insights into customer key decision objectives and objections. So it listens in on your calls if you record them and then tells you more about it, which is great feedback. Now, Chorus AI, a conversational intelligence platform that uses AI to analyze sales meetings, offering insights as well to improve the sales people. So there's self-improvement that's going on. And then the one that I mentioned before is in CRMs. HubSpot's doing this really well. I don't know why it says HubSpot down below. But
I thought that was the Viking version. I thought that was like for Attila or something. Attila the Hunter.
Listen, I'm not familiar with this one.
I don't make mistakes. I thought I did one, but I was wrong. So let me finish up. So a comprehensive sales platform, obviously, like Salesforce.com or the HubSpot, has these tools called Sales Hub, and they're built in, and they're AI tools in your CRM. Start using them and get going on them. Okay, that's what's going to be important here. And as sales leaders, listen to me. You don't always make the right decisions, but you'll make your decision right. So get doing something. And a quote that I want to throw out here as I kind of wrap up my tirade for a minute is from Warren Buffett. If you wait until you know everything, it'll be too late. Don't think that you have to know everything to start utilizing and taking advantage of the technology that artificial intelligence brings. Dip your toe in and get going somewhere. It's not going to kill you. It's going to help you.
Yeah, and
There's
it's what's comfortable as well, isn't it, Rick? You know, don't try and do something that's going to throw you backwards. It's about doing it in maybe baby steps so that you get it right, you feel comfortable, and it feels like a seamless weave into what we're doing. I think for
like
people as
you
well,
were the videos.
Yes. I think for people who want to learn more about AI, there's some great resources out there. And I've read quite a lot around AI. I have to be honest, there are things around AI that I'm, like you said, Rick, you're still learning. One of the best resources I found is this particular book, which I think is excellent. This came out and has been written by 𝗦𝗔𝗟𝗘𝗦 and Anthony Iannarino, both of them amazing authors in the sales world. This is the latest book from the Sales Gravy catalog, the AI Edge. And it's one that I find myself dipping in and out of a lot for clarification on things maybe that I'm not sure about. And this is a really great starting point for people who maybe want to learn a little bit more and want to find out a little bit more about it as well. So this is a great lead in on that. So there's some great stuff that's out there, but I think as a starting point, this is really good.
Excellent suggestion, Simon. Thank you. Scott, I think we got to wrap this up a little bit because those salespeople are really busy getting ready for their next major sales call. What do you want to wrap up and add at the end of this? First podcast for us on the Sales Slap on artificial intelligence. We really took on a big topic to start with, didn't we?
We did. And I just say, so I think my summary would be that as sales professionals and sales leaders, we're always looking to optimize our efficiency and, again, not silver bullets, but incremental. So all these tools, whether it be a CRM, whether it be using ChatGPT, all of these things are ways that can help us get incrementally better at what we do. And all I would say is that in this balance between human and AI, I'm always going to err on the side of human. And I think Simon's example of the video is perfect because you can't, well, maybe you can, but you don't want to send an AI video message. You want a message to come from that handsome bugger Simon, all right, or the guy who's still
AI for the message, your own personal.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that, and I want to do more of this. So I always think about what would Simon do, and one of them is video. But if you can use AI to help do the research and what's important to those folks, and use that to enhance your human ability to connect, like Simon does with video, to me that's how we leverage AI for the best.
Love it.
Excellent.
Love it. So I just want to throw into the... Oh, sorry, Rick, I talked over you then. I didn't mean that.
No, go ahead. Your book suggestion was excellent. What do you want to share with us before we wrap?
I want to just shout out to the world that during this podcast, as we start to build this, we're going to be inviting on lots of different guests to come and talk. The most important guests for us are going to be the people that are doing it every day. We know that a lot of the big names out there have been on every single podcast that's out there. So therefore, we would love to hear from any salespeople that are out there right now who maybe have some things to say that maybe they've never had that platform before, and they wouldn't mind talking to us three for a little bit about what they do. And we'll be talking about different subjects, but we'll be really happy to be led by you on what you would like to talk about. So if you want to get on the show, then why not drop us a note? You can find us here, and Rick's going to put up all of the details. So if you want to join us on our Sales Slap Talk, then feel free to get in touch. We'd love to hear from you, and most importantly, to learn from you. Rick?
That's why we're here, is to serve you, the salespeople, sales leaders that are out there in the trenches every day, so that you can be the very best that you can be. Guys, thanks for a great kickstart to our Slap podcast. We're looking forward to more going forward, always being informative and sharing the skills, tools, and knowledge necessary to make our community in sales much better. Thanks, guys.
See you soon.
Thanks.